My name is Maryann. I'm 48 years old. I've had IC for, I don't know, I want to say 5 years. When I found Dr. Mandy on Instagram and she had the IC, I was like, this is the golden ticket. She can relate to what I have. These practitioners led me into gut health, which was on my road to getting better. But Dr. Mandy took it a step further because when you can relate to somebody and their pain and what they've been through and the road, and she did remission, a light bulb went off, and I was like, I have to work with this lady, and this is why. Well, I'd say probably like 80%. Like I have gone a long time. I just lost quite a bit of weight, and I think getting the inflammation out of my body has really helped. And then I'd probably say for like 6 months, I've been feeling really, really good. Just a couple weeks ago, I had some pasta with some red sauce, and I was in a flare the next day. And it made me realize, oh, I can't even have. I mean, it was just a very little amount, but here I was doing so good for so long. So you really have to just be like, is that worth it? You have to ask yourself that. And from where I was, I think it's been a year since I've been working with Dr. Mandy. When I was working with her the first day, in my sweats, in tears, in pain, level 8, 9 pain that day, and I'm sitting here today and I'm pain free and my levels are 2. It's huge. If you are in pain and you have IC, you have to go see Dr. Mandy because she will help you, but you also have to do the work. And I just realized I got to put more work into eating gluten free. And I'm going to do that because I don't want to have a relapse and have to come back. Mine is gluten. I would say I do the 80-20 rule, but I have not been that great with my gluten. And we did a genetic testing actually, and it runs in my family. And I could actually end up with celiac if I do not nip this in the butt and really control it. And she did this thing that just kind of made sense to me, that like your gut is open and then your gut is closed, and every time you eat gluten you're opening the pathways, which then open your histamines and open the oxalates in your body, and it raises everything in your body, which then is going to cause you to go into a flare. Well, what did I eat? What did I do? And I have to backtrack because sometimes I don't know if it's exactly the gluten or is it the dairy, is it my stress. But honestly, after reviewing these tests with her, I do have a little bit of a dairy intolerance, but my biggest issue is gluten. And if I continue to eat it like a normal person, I will go back and I will be in pain and I will be having another consultation with Dr. Mandy. So my biggest goal is going to be this year for me is try to do 90% gluten free and really try to stick to that and keep my gut happy and healthy and closed, because I feel so good right now that I want to feel good like this all the time. When you have one slip up and you have one bad day, boy, it reminds you fast. You talk to people that don't have it and they don't get it. Like, so you're hurting today, you don't feel well, you need to go sleep. Like, what's your problem? It's like, unless you have arthritis, you don't get it. Like, no one understands this, I guess you call it, this disease. And it's awful to get. And it all, I feel like, stems in your gut. And getting your gut, I mean, it just really reminded me how important your gut health microbiome is, and just keeping it good. And it's really unfortunate because these urologists don't take it that far. They take it to the drugs and they take it to installations in the bladder, which I did for about a year. So I went to an OBGYN, and then they sent me to a urologist doctor, and I ended up getting the scope. They put you under and they go up and they do the scope. And then that's how I actually got diagnosed with the IC. And then they just kind of handed me a pamphlet and said, eat this diet, and there's no cure for this, and here's some medication for your pain, and there you go. Very limited information. Then you start getting online, you start Googling everything, you start researching everything, you start looking at all these different forums, and because you feel like crap, and you're like, this can't be a lifelong thing for me. I have to feel better. I also worked with a couple functional practitioners, and they definitely got me into the direction to where I needed a little bit more help. And they started working with my gut. My gut health started improving, and I started having less flares. Probably, I mean, I'd have a flare every day, 7 days a week. And then it went down to maybe 2 times a week to 3 times a week, but I still wasn't feeling great. Come weekends, I'd be down in bed. I got very fatigued on it and would sleep anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a night. We'll never forget the first day I had the call with Dr. Mandy, because she interviews people to see if you're a right candidate for her in her clinic. She doesn't take everybody on. And she told me this from the get-go. And when I met her that morning on a Zoom call, I was in a flare. I called it my flare. And I had my sweats on, I think a sweatshirt. I had no makeup because I was feeling awful. And I had a call with her, and she was just like, okay, what else have you done? She was going through all the test reviews and what else of this and what, trying to see if I was going to be the right patient for her. And I think she asked me, like, what's the biggest thing that you want to, out of me to work with me? And I said, I want to feel better. And I started, I think, crying. Like, I feel like crap today. I have pain running down my legs and my bladder, and it's awful. From a 1 to 10, I was in a level 8 pain that day when I was interviewing with her. And I looked up at her and I was like, I want my life back. I want to feel better. I don't want to be in bed. Because when I was in pain, it would affect my nervous system. And the only way to get out of my pain was to sleep it off. So I would sleep for hours and hours and hours, and then I'd get up, and then I'd feel better, and then I'd be able to function a little bit better. I'm a mom of an 8-year-old, and my biggest why is to be able to get up and go play with her and go to the park with her and be the mom that she deserves, not a mom laying in bed. Number one, she's just so educated. She's the doctor, so functional practitioners are wonderful. So she has her doctorate, so she dives even deeper into your health and your gut. I think everybody has a place where they're placed. Like I said, like functional practitioners are great, doctors are great, but Mandy's a doctor of IC. So she can relate to the bladder. She knows what causes the UTIs. She knows what's causing, I had probably 8, 10 tests sent to my house from Dr. Mandy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have to do all these? But there's a reason behind everything, because everything has a story. And so she starts with one, and then she'll do a Zoom call with you and meet with you and review it. And then she'll go to another one, and then the next one. And so she really gets in and dives in and sees what was your particular issue and how are we going to get you better, because every puzzle is different for everybody. Dr. Mandy, explained to me that her IC pain, a lot of it was she would pee blood. Well, I never had that symptom. So mine was not in my bladder and running down my legs is where I experienced it. And the fatigue would literally kill me. Where she can dive into all the tests. She takes it a step further than the urologists, than the functional practitioners. She just takes it a step further. I mean, I feel really good right now, and I want to keep it like that. So I foresee everything, on the up and up. I'm just so grateful, because I was searching for answers. And man, it's, when you're searching and you get a diagnosis like this, you just want help, and you want to feel better. I got depressed. I was like, I'm never going to get better. There's no cure for this. And I've gotten better. So you can get better. You can. You just have to do the work. And you have to listen to Dr. Mandy, and you have to do what she asks. and you have to spend a lot of money and you have to do the tests. But at the end of the day, it's your health, it's your livelihood, and you will get better. I promise you will. You just have to trust her because she had it. That's seriously the whole reason I hired her, because she had this condition. There's so many other doctors online I could have picked, but she has IC. If you have IC, no one else can relate to you but this woman right here, Dr. Mandy, because she understands the pain in the bladder and the symptoms that cause it. And I'm really passionate about that because you talk to other practitioners and they're wonderful and they have great information to give you. They don't understand the pain. They don't. And they never will. You have to hire doctors that can relate, who can relate to you. It's huge. If someone has cancer and that person has cancer, they're already bonded because they have cancer. You're already bonded to Dr. Mandy if you have IC and she has IC. Because you have one thing in common, and the medical doctors in the medical community, especially the urologists and the males and females, they don't get it. They just try to keep you comfortable and just say, I'm so sorry. We're just going to keep you comfortable. You can do the installations, and we can prescribe you, tramadol, and you can take ibuprofen for the pain. But sweetie, there's just nothing we can do for you. I mean, is that awful? That's awful. And you walk away and you cry. And you're like, this is a death sentence. I'm going to be in this pain for the rest of my life. I'm going to feel like literally crap every day. And they want to give me drugs. And then you go see Dr. Mandy and she expressed, yeah, I had this and I had that and I had this. Mine was a little bit different, but then I had this. And you're like, oh my gosh, you can relate? This is so wonderful that you know how I'm feeling right now and how I felt the last year in pain and in bed. And all I want is my life back and help me. And you're so sick. And she sends you a test and you can barely do your test to go do it because you cannot get out of bed that day. And then you have your first consultation and she's like, I only want you to order these 4 supplements. And you start small. But it's the little changes. You know what's so great about Dr. Mandy is you have her at your fingertips. I remember one time I was in the worst freaking flare and I was in so much pain, and it's because I had some alcohol, and she's like, take some Benadryl. And I was like, no doctor ever told me to take Benadryl. And it helped. Anyway, I love her. She's really saved my life from being in bed and being sick all the time. And I can get up and I can get ready and I feel good and I can be the mom that my daughter deserves, and the friends that my friends deserve, and a sister that my sisters deserve. And I'm still going to have my bad days, and that's okay, but they're far and few now. Or maybe once a month, once every 3 months. It's just going to get better from here on out, and it's up to me. I have to make the choices. I have to decide what I choose to put in my mouth and what I choose not to. And man, it's hard. That's probably the biggest thing I struggle with. I can just have one little bite of that chocolate cake. It's okay. Is it? Because the next day I'm going to fill it. I might fill it, I might not. It just depends. Is my gut open or is it closed? And I don't know where the stage it's at right now. If I've been really good for 6 months, I might be okay. It just depends. Is it worth taking the risk? So I just, having the conversation today, I gotta buckle up, because I don't want to go back. When I don't feel good, it makes me go, oh yeah, no. You don't want to be back in bed.